I'm ever Curdy. And what I'm going to start doing here is just sort of an idea that I have is when I do my videos on new moons and full moons, I think that I might start including oracle readings and pulling cards for those lunar events to add, another layer to what I'm talking about, so that it isn't only the astrological information, but it's also, you're getting sort of a message from spirit, in a way, sort of a more prescriptive message. And, my style of talking about astrology is sort of in between prescriptive and predictive. And but this adds more dimension, more depth, and more meaning to what I'm going to be talking about. Now, for instance, right now when I'm making this video, I made a video about the new moon, but it's happening amongst other big astrological events. So possibly, and this is an idea, this isn't set in stone or anything, but for the full moon in Sagittarius that's coming up on the 3rd of June, I may pull a card and then I may talk about it. And, I'll probably take what is given to me and embellish it and add my own layer of meaning to it. So, I was pulling an oracle card from, a deck by the oracle card author and expert, call it Baron Reed. And this deck is called the Dreamweaver's Oracle. And it's a fairly new deck. And this deck, is really centered around cards that, represent certain, aspects of your dreams. And it's about giving meaning to the dreams that you have, the thoughts that you have, the visions that you have for your life. So that's really the theme of it. Now, the card that I pulled for this new moon is, let's see if I can find it. Only Weavers Know the Time. And what this card is basically about is that we are not meant to have the answers right away. We're not going to know when the answers will come. We may not even, expect when things will happen. And it really comes down to not being so fixated on things being a certain way. And, maybe this will come up against the fact that I created a schedule for myself. I'm going to be doing this thing on this day, and I'm going to be living up to this quota. I'm going to finish reading the books that I did not finish in my earlier years, and I'm going to get this accomplished. And over time, I've learned to sort of take it one step at a time, slow and steady, not to rush the process. And so this is saying that it does not have to necessarily be, up to a timetable, up to a schedule. And, and also, when we're waiting for those results, when we put the work in, and, set intentions for what we want, because new moons are about setting intentions, initiating, those kind of things. It's about not really having a whole lot of high expectations that things are going to go a certain way. I've initiated this. I've done what I can, and now I'm going to, as the saying goes, let go and let God. So only weavers know the time. And, the other thing is what you want will not be withheld from you. It really comes down to trusting in divine timing, trusting that, life will unfold, people, places, situations will unfold and be presented to you at the proper time. And to not, rush and try to push for it all with your ego mind. To do what you can, but then allow. That's what this is saying. So, looking at this, I'll sort of, go through it so that if there's anything extra that I can say here. Releasing timetables, trusting timing, all the time in the world, the power to expand time. And another little thought with this card is that growth and healing is not linear. You're going to get better at something. Even when it comes to, whatever it is, it may be healing, it may be getting over a certain habit pattern, sort of like getting over, certain compulsions. I know in my life that is what I have been working through this past winter, is healing and breaking the bad habits that I have got myself into. And sometimes I am better at breaking those bad habits than other times. Sometimes I take steps back. Sometimes I go back. And then other times I progressed forward. And, it isn't linear. It fluctuates. So it says the dream weavers know the perfect timing of your dream to manifest in the outer world, but their timetable often does not coincide with your expectations. Sometimes you can get caught up in worrying that you're running out of time, that you might have missed the profitable boat for success, but that is false. The universe does not operate in linear time. The Dreamweavers are moving the threads of fate and destiny around on the cosmic loom for your benefic right time. It's time to release your need to know the timing of things, to know when things are going to happen, and trust that if you keep taking one step at a time, following the signs that sparkle in the mystical threads of synchronicity and serendipity, you will be so much happier. So, releasing attachment. And this new moon is happening in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is not about pushing. It's not about, rushing to, okay, I'm so determined I'm going to get something done. Now, from a personal standpoint, there was this one assignment that I had to do a long time ago that was an assignment where I had to analyze poems and I had to do critical thinking. And, analyze, answering all these higher order thinking questions, and it was a deadline and I was stressed out about it. And, I really felt like there was not enough time. Now, I have some, words of wisdom that sort of go on the self-care end of that. But, whatever happens, trust it, that you do have enough time. And you do have a lot of time. And Taurus is about taking one step at a time. It isn't about rushing the process. There is this, I think that she is a life coach. She has a podcast, she's written books, she, inspires people to live a better, more fulfilling life. and how to take action to get what you want in your life. You know, here's the thing. You know, we are not human doings. We're human beings. And you're not meant to do all this alone. You know, we're here to co-create and trust our intuition. And we're also here to, it's not about pushing forward, because you can have that mindset of, oh, I'm going to be really motivated at doing this. I'm just going to, have this goal and I can achieve it. Even if I have to, really push myself. And sometimes, that can happen if you have enough stamina or courage or motivation to push yourself. But, it comes back to, just living in that experience and being willing to go through the experience and not, rushing towards the finish line, relative to what's going on in your life. But, Taurus is very patient. It can teach us about waiting for, things to happen. I mean, you're not going to build a building in a day, So, that also adds to it. So, taking one step at a time. In Taurus energy, in terms of the sign that this new moon is happening at, is about connecting to nature. And I want to extend that further to the spirit, because nature is, has a life and a spirit to it. And, we can see the divine in, nature. There is divinity in nature. You look at, the flowers, you look at the trees, and those are living things, but even, crystals and other inanimate objects, have, spirits. That's why, and I'm not saying that, others out there are saying that. That's why, there are all these crystal, decks, these kind of things. Now, I don't pretend to be, an expert in spirituality. So taking one step at a time, that's what Taurus is about, connecting with nature. Life is an adventure. Oh my goodness. Life is an adventure. So let go of your need to have things your way when you want it, how you want it, the way you want it. The universe might have a way better idea of what you need, so stay curious and open. The downside of Taurus energy is I'm just so rigid. I'm so attached to this particular outcome, to, this being a certain way, and I'm, holding on to this. But, that is not the way. So, that's the downside, is Taurus rigidity. The upside is, being in connection with, the present moment. And, I'm taking my time. I'm moving slowly and steadily. That's really the high road of it. So, let go of your need to have things your way, when you want it, how you want it, the way you want it. The universe might have a very different idea of what you need, to stay curious and open. You are so blessed, and what is truly yours will not be withheld from you. Trust in divine timing, and all will be well. So that is the oracle card, the message for this new moon in Taurus. So that is all that I have for now.